In the early 20th century, the United States entered a period of deep financial uncertainty. Banks were collapsing, trust in paper money was fading, and ordinary citizens were turning to gold as the only form of security they believed would survive the storm. As panic spread, President Franklin D. Roosevelt made a controversial decision that would reshape the economic landscape for generations. On one unprecedented day, the government moved to collect privately owned gold, arguing that the nation's survival depended on bold action. Behind the official speeches and legal declarations, many citizens felt confused, powerless, and unsure of what this decision truly meant for their future. This event became one of the most misunderstood turning points in financial history, raising questions about state authority, personal wealth, and the fragile backbone of modern economies. As the government prepared the executive order, officials debated how far federal authority could reach into private wealth. Many policymakers feared that without radical action, the currency system would collapse entirely. The plan was framed as a temporary emergency measure, but internally, some advisors admitted that the nation had become too dependent on gold, limiting the government's ability to stabilize the crisis. Newspapers tried to calm the public, yet rumors spread faster than official announcements. People whispered that the government was coming for their savings, their jewelry, even family heirlooms. While these fears were exaggerated, the lack of transparency fed widespread distrust. The atmosphere was thick with uncertainty, and everyday life felt suspended as citizens waited for clarity on what would be demanded. When the executive order was finally announced, citizens were instructed to deliver their gold to approved banks within a limited time frame. The message was clear: holding gold privately was now illegal unless it had special use cases. Many Americans felt a mixture of shock and resignation. Some believed compliance was patriotic, others saw it as an intrusion into personal freedom. Bank lobbies filled with long lines where people clutched bags of coins and small bars that had once represented security. The government offered compensation in paper currency, assuring the public that the nation's restructuring required unity. Still, countless individuals returned home uneasy, sensing that something irreversible had taken place. The policy triggered a nationwide conversation about trust. For generations, gold had symbolized permanence and independence. Now, the same object became a source of anxiety. Families gathered around radios to hear explanations from government officials, hoping for clarity. Economists argued on public broadcasts, some supporting the action as necessary for recovery, others calling it a dangerous overreach. Meanwhile, towns across the country experienced quiet moments of conflict, neighbors debating, local businesses struggling to adapt, and small communities questioning whether national decisions truly reflected their needs. The psychological impact spread far beyond finance. It altered how people understood the relationship between themselves and the government. As gold flowed into federal vaults, the government began reorganizing the monetary system. Officials argued that centralizing gold reserves would allow greater flexibility in expanding money supply and stabilizing prices. The public, however, struggled to understand how surrendering gold could create long-term prosperity. Some citizens suspected that the government had deeper motives, while others simply hoped the plan would ease widespread unemployment. Banks implemented new policies, and financial institutions shifted their practices almost overnight. The transformation was swift, and many people felt they were witnessing the birth of a new economic order, one in which trust replaced gold as the foundation of value. Even after compliance became widespread, tension lingered. Some people hid small amounts of gold, hoping the government would never discover their secret stashes. Collectors protected rare coins with emotional attachment, viewing them not as wealth but as history. The government increased inspections to ensure the policy's success, though enforcement was less aggressive than rumors suggested. Despite this, a culture of caution took root. Americans learned to manage wealth in new ways, Through savings accounts, bonds, and other instruments they once considered inferior to physical gold. The shift required time, and not everyone adapted easily. Over time, economists began analyzing the long-term impact of the gold collection. Some argued that it allowed the government to prevent a deeper depression, stabilize currency, and fund programs that revived the economy. Critics, however, maintained that the policy set a dangerous precedent, showing that in desperate times, individual rights could be overridden. Academic debates continued for decades, shaping how future policymakers understood financial emergencies. The event became a reference point, a reminder of how fragile economic systems could become under pressure, and how governments might respond when pushed to their limits. As memories faded, the Gold Collection Day transformed into a historical legend. Many younger generations viewed it with disbelief, wondering how such a sweeping policy could have been accepted. Museums displayed documents and old coins surrendered during that era, sparking curiosity about how society once navigated uncertainty. The episode became a study in resilience, illustrating how collective action, whether voluntary or obligated, could alter the trajectory of a nation. Though perspectives differed, the event remained a powerful reminder of how rapidly the balance between citizens and government could shift in turbulent times. Years after the event, some scholars revisited personal letters from citizens who lived through the gold collection. Their words revealed a mix of fear, hope, confusion, and reluctant cooperation. For many families, the day became a symbol of sacrifice. For others, a moment when financial independence felt compromised. These personal accounts gave historians richer insight into how policy affects real lives. They highlighted that economic decisions are not just numbers or theories. They shape emotions, relationships, and generational perspectives on trust and security. Debates resurfaced whenever new financial crises emerged. Politicians and analysts often pointed back to the gold collection as both a warning and a precedent. Some argued it demonstrated necessary boldness. Others saw it as a step too far. The story was retold in documentaries, lectures, and public discussions. Its relevance persisted because it raised universal questions. How much power should a government have? What is the boundary between collective stability and individual autonomy? And how should societies prepare for economic turbulence without sacrificing fundamental freedoms? Over time, America moved far from the gold-based monetary system, embracing new financial technologies and flexible banking mechanisms. Yet, the memory of the gold collection lingered in national consciousness. Economists referenced it when discussing inflation, monetary expansion, or central bank power. The event served as a case study showing how quickly a country can transform its financial foundation when pushed by crisis. It also reminded the public that money, whether gold or paper, is ultimately a social contract, dependent on shared belief and trust. Today, the story of America's hidden day of gold collection stands as a complex reminder of crisis, resilience, and the tension between security and freedom. It invites reflection on how societies respond when fear threatens stability. The event also highlights that transparency and communication are essential during moments of national uncertainty. Whether viewed as necessary or unjust, it remains one of the most remarkable examples of how economic policy shapes the direction of a nation. The legacy continues to influence debates about wealth, government power, and the meaning of trust in modern life.